Come on in if you want to. The link should work. I wanted to start right so I get everything prepared. Okay, so did the link work, Eric? Evidently it did because you're here. Hopefully others will join us. Okay, the link on, I've just been informed that the link on the YouTube live stream is working. Hopefully someone can test the link I put on my Google Plus page. But if all else fails, you can get in through the YouTube page, which is how we typically do it. So no worries. So we're doing much better than we did 2 weeks ago. I was out last week doing some training. That went rather well, and then of course 2 weeks before, everything kind of fell apart, and I kind of forgot how to find the URL, which is really stupid because the URL is in the top. It's in the very top line. So, but we live and we learn, and we're just kind of waiting for people to join us. And I've got some questions, but the format is not limited to my questions. We can talk about your questions or whatever comes up. I'm glad to see Anastasia is going to be with us. If she can find her way in. She had surgery this week, so I'll be interested to hear how that went. We may not have too many folks tonight. Joy had a really good hangout last night, so people may have got their fill last night or whatever, and it's it's almost 2 o'clock here, Central Daylight Time, which means it's 3 o'clock in the East. Uh, 1 o'clock, almost 1 o'clock Mountain Time, and noon time on the West Coast, LA. If memory serves me, it's probably about 8 o'clock England. We actually had some folks from Australia yesterday, so it was, I think, noon time. If memory correct serves me, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning in Australia. So we probably won't get any Aussies to join us unless they stayed up all night. So we may not have very many folks, but we'll make do with the folks we have.
Yeah, long story short, I am now claustrophobic.
You're after a small place?
Yeah, because we were going to a cousin's graduation and
Yeah.
they had to cancel it, so we all had to run into a storm shelter, and I was backed up in the corner.
Okay, so so how are you feeling now?
Oh gosh. I Now I just can't be left in a small place anymore.
Oh my gosh. Well, how much property damage was there? Was there a lot of trees down?
Um, I'm in Oklahoma, so we're having a lot of storms lately.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in Houston, and we're on the south end of those storms, and they're nothing like what you're getting up there. But it's rained almost every day for like the last 2 weeks or whatever.
For
It's
us,
really
it's been
cloudy.
the last 3 or 4 days.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm glad you're safe, and it sounds like all your people are safe. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, everybody was talking about how they were getting into the storm shelter at midnight, and I told them I was asleep. So
Yeah, but you know, in Houston, we don't have storm shelters because our water table is so high, they would just flood. No,
oh,
nobody has a basement here in Houston. If you go a little bit further north, you can have a basement when the terrain starts to get kind of hilly or whatever. But if and we do get tornadoes if there's a hurricane. If there's a hurricane, the tornadoes will spawn off of that, and so we have to hide in a bathroom or a closet or something like that or whatever. So, but I lived through Hurricane Ike, and
okay.
it's like you hear a freight train for about 20 minutes, and then you don't hear nothing for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then the freight train comes back for another 20 minutes.
Well,
And what that means is the eye of the storm has passed directly over you, because
uh,
that 20 minutes of silence in the middle, that's the eye of the storm. And we get one of those about every 20 to 25 years. And I'm hoping I'm on vacation or something the next time it happens.
over here, mostly the only things we have is tornadoes and earthquakes.
Yeah, we don't get too many earthquakes down here in Houston, but I understand in the Dallas area, you know, which is just south of you guys, they're starting to get more and more earthquakes. They're really worried about the fracking.
Yeah, that's what it is. I've heard
I'm
about
gonna
that.
I'm gonna slide over to the YouTube side and see if there's anyone else trying to get in. Okay, we got someone on the YouTube side that's going to listen in to us today.
All right.
And normally my co-host, he's probably still sleeping. Have you seen Joey?
No, not recently.
Well, he's the one that had to hang out last night, and he's got a really, really neat channel. He is everything with him is an open book. He would never lie to anybody.
Yeah.
He lays it on the line, tells it like it is. So he's not trying to protect or defend anything. Well, I've got 2 o'clock, and so I think we'll just kind of start, and hopefully others will join in with us or whatever. And the first thing I like to do, well, the first thing I want to do is welcome everybody who's in the chat room with me. We got plenty of room. If you want to come into the YouTube channel, and I think I've got a way to come through my Google Plus page or whatever, but the YouTube channel for sure. So I want to welcome everybody to our. We started early so I can make sure I got all the bugs out, and this time I did. So we're doing much better than 2 weeks ago. So I want to ask you if you have your YouTube channel to please mute that, so we don't have all kinds of reverberation and background noise and everything. Other thing I'd like to ask about is, did anyone find any resources this week that they would like to share? Okay, well, I just the world clock is a great resource if you want to figure out what time it is somewhere else or whatever. We're trying to coordinate all the different times and everything. We've had people from Australia participate with us, and Europe, and of course all across the United States and Canada. So nobody from Hawaii yet, but we're real excited about that. There's about 4 or 5 of us that host these hangouts, and we're trying to get it to where we have at least one a day, and a different host every day. So you get a kind of like a different flavor of our different styles. And you know, I've already talked about Joy. He's real open. Jessica does a good job with hers, and Jamie and Jessica were the 2 ones that got this whole program off the road. So we owe them a big debt of gratitude. So, and I'll give you a key. If you want to hook up with everybody and you want to do it through YouTube, post a comment, you know, great job, Marvin, or I like the video, Marvin, just something simple. But anyway, what that does is that puts your that puts a link to your YouTube page. We can all hook up that way or whatever. So you can try tell each other when the next hangout's going to be. And I know Joyce is going to be every Friday night. I think he's going to do his every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 8 p.m. Central time. Okay, the other thing I would want to caution everybody about is this is going to be preserved for God knows how long. And so I just ask you to keep it PG rated. We don't do therapy in these hangouts. None of us are qualified therapists. We try to share and we try to encourage each other. And going along with that, we don't want to judge each other. And what I found is if you stick to I statements, you know, I feel this way, or I found that this worked for me, or whatever that, and we get more benefit out of just sharing and encouraging one another than we do try to say, well, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. That just kind of turns people off. Okay, so that's basically all I have for housekeeping, unless someone else has any comments. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the YouTube page and see if someone's trying to get in. Okay, Jessica says she posted some things on Google Plus page about walking, drinking tea, and singing as a tool for overcoming depression, and that's really good advice. We all have to have as Tigger would say, we all have to have a laughing place, a place where we can go and just kind of de-stress from whatever's going on in our lives. So that's some really good advice.
Yeah, I was looking on her Google Plus, and she was posting about that.
Yeah, she's really good. I know she's I'm not sure if she's a social worker or she's starting to be a social worker, but I know she's getting some kind of a degree in psychology, and of course she's going to be out there in the field helping folks. So that's good for us.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Well, I guess we'll just go into the questions, and hopefully somebody will join in with us. Once again, to the YouTube people, that link in the description box should work. One person came into that link or whatever. So join us if you'd like to. Okay, the first question I have is, have churches or religion helped you any?
Okay.
Well, I think in the abstract, religion has helped me. I've studied most of the religions. I've joined a few or whatever, and I'm a big student of New Thought, Buddhism, Hinduism, pagan religions, and all of them have helped me as long as I take it into my system myself. Going to churches, that's a whole different story, because churches are really not geared, most churches, let me qualify that a little bit, most churches are really not geared to help people in the DID community. You might find some ministers in the Episcopal Church that would be equipped to help. You might find some ministers in the Unitarian Universalist Church that would be equipped to help, and also the Methodist Church. The Methodist clergy tends to be well trained, but other than that, DID is really out of their realm, and a lot of what gets preached from the pulpit amounts to blaming the victim, which is not good. It's a second trauma in addition to the first series of traumas, which got us into multiple personality disorder or DID, whatever you want to call it. Do you have anything to add to that?
Mm,
No?
not really.
Okay. Well, listen, the floor is open, so if you have any questions or whatever, just let me know. Okay. The next question goes kind of along with that is, has forgiveness played a role in your recovery or your life? Okay. Okay. Jessica has told us that she's going to be a behavioral analyst for children with disabilities and mental disorders. So that's very great. And she says that religion has only helped me become more connected to myself at the core, which that's a good thing for religion to do. So, and if I seem a little bit discombobulated, it's because I'm trying to. Okay, now I'm being told that the YouTube link's not working now. The YouTube link did work.
That's how I got in through the YouTube.
Yeah,
link.
so it's working for others. Okay. All I can say is refresh the YouTube page and try it again. It's the only advice I can give. So, okay. Where was I? Okay. Jessica says you have to forgive to move on and heal. I found this worked out for me. Okay. That's some good advice. And first of all, we have to define forgiveness. And the church where I was, forgiveness and reconciliation and acceptance were all the same thing. So that if you were in business with somebody and they defrauded you and tried to bankrupt you, the way you showed them that you had forgiven them was you went back into business with them. In other words, forgiveness meant a do-over or a second chance. And I have come to find out that is not what forgiveness is. If you Google forgiveness, two very, very short and simple definitions will come up. The first one is forgiveness is you stop to hate. So the person that injured you, you don't hate them anymore. The second aspect of forgiveness is, welcome, Jessica. The second aspect of forgiveness is you don't ask, you stop expecting a payback. You know. Okay, Jessica says she just got on fine. So if you're watching, you can't get in. Refresh the page and try it over again. So this is my advice, and hopefully we can get everybody on. The person that's trying to get in is from England, so I don't know if there's any kind of snafus with her telephone company or whatever. I send a link. Okay, good. Thank you for doing that. So, okay. Okay, and Jake is actually Anastasia, so, and I'll be looking forward to hear her report. So basically, once you figure out what forgiveness is, it doesn't stop the person from being accountable, and it doesn't mean you have to reconcile with them. To me, forgiveness is a blanket statement, but you can approach that by steps too. But reconciliation is something that is situational, and you approach it by steps. You know, maybe if Dad was an alcoholic and he stopped drinking, well, maybe you'll spend one holiday with him, and if he proves himself, you'll spend more and more time. So reconciliation becomes something that is gradually built up or whatever. It's not, forgiveness is not by any means a do-over, and it doesn't get anybody out of any kind of legal issues they may be in. It's just, forgiveness is basically for you, and I find it very, very helpful. I don't preach it because it's something that everybody has to decide for themselves, and it works much better if people appropriate it for themselves. There's a saying, a man convinced against his opinion, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So that just kind of goes along with what we were saying before about just sharing. Okay. Does anyone have any comments about forgiveness?
Not really.
Okay, it's a tricky thing, and I find it, like I said, it's best if you work it out for yourself. So, but I highly recommend it. There've been studies about people that retain bitterness in their bodies, and that bitterness in your body can manifest as any number of different diseases or whatever. So I find, for me, it's best to forgive. Alrighty, let's go on to our next question. If you could create an altar, who would you create? Any bites?
I don't even know.
Well, I'll go first. Basically, I like the altars that I have. My favorite altar right now is the librarian. The librarian keeps everything in order or whatever, and so that's a great altar to have. I guess I'd create an altar that would have a little bit more self-confidence, so that I could step out, a little bit more and have a little bit more faith in myself. So that would be the altar that I would create, a more self-confident. Okay.
I don't know. I don't think that I would. I would create an altar.
Yeah.
Another
Well.
one. I mean, I just, if I did, I would think something way out there. That's not even possible.
Yeah.
If I could, something like
Hmm.
magical powers or something.
Yeah, that
That's
would
not
be
even
nice.
possible.
That
So,
would be nice. That would be nice. But like I say, I'm happy with the altars that I have. We're in the process of rediscussing our roles or whatever. Right now, we had a big meeting this morning about what time should we go to bed and how long should we sleep and when should we get up. And I got about
yeah.
5 different answers. So we're working on that or whatever. And there's 7 days in the week, so maybe I
Yeah.
give each altar a day to go to bed when they want to go to bed and get up when they want to get up or whatever. But that's what we're working on right now. Uh,
There you
okay.
go.
I mean, there's all kinds of ways uh, to foster cooperation in your system. So, and that's having meetings on paper is one way that I do it. And and along with that, has anyone tried pendulum communication with your
I-
altars? Does anyone
I've
know what
tried
that
that.
is?
Yeah, I've tried that. I've got tons of those things.
Hmm.
Because I live close to quartzite, which is where you get a whole bunch of rocks and stuff. So I've got
Oh, okay.
probably about 6 of those things, and then I have the psychic circle, which is like a Ouija board type thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I communicate on that. So
yeah. And the psychic circle. Do you hold the pendulum over the psychic circle?
no, I actually there's a thing on there that moves.
Oh, okay. What do they call it? A planchette? Is that the
Yeah,
right word? Okay, and you hold your fingers on it. Okay, so it's just
yeah,
like a Ouija board.
yeah.
Okay, I had a Ouija board one time, but in one of the various moves, it got lost. But this is my pendulum. It's a bead on the end of the string. So, and it works for me. You can use a ring or a necklace on the end of a chain, or at one time I used a little washer on the end of the string. And this, you probably won't be able to see anything, but this is my uh, how I ask questions or whatever, and depending on how it moves, I can get yes, ling, no, no, and if it moves this way, it means I've asked the wrong question, and if it moves the other way, it means I've asked the right question. So you can set it up to where you can have 5 or 6 answers. On the other side is percentage, because a lot of times if you ask about things in the future, they can't say yes or no, but they can give you the probability or the likelihood or whatever. And I use this to talk with my alters and also to talk with my spirit guides. So I do have spirit guides. So
Right.
and Eric, I hope that's your name. Uh, you can use the pendulum to talk to your subconscious mind if that's of interest to you or whatever. So Jung, Carl Jung, the great psychotherapist, one of Freud's disciples or whatever, he postulated that there are like 9 levels of our mind or whatever, and through hypnosis and some other techniques, you talk to each different level. And I'm reading about right brain, left brain, and how all that works or whatever. So, and I don't know how it works for people with DID or whatever, but okay, let me just slide back to the YouTube page. Okay. Okay. So everything seems to be going okay. So we'll go around to the next question. This next question was kind of like a question a minute ago. Do you ever pretend to be someone else?
No.
No, you're always you?
when I was younger, a little
Okay.
kid, but not
Uh,
now.
Outwardly, I'm always me, but sometimes on the inside, I pretend, like I was talking about earlier. If I want to be strong, I'll pretend to be Captain Picard uh, from Star Trek, the next uh, generation, and that has helped me in some work situations or whatever. When my dad got sick, he had a stent. He had a minor heart surgery. He had a stent put in one of his arteries or whatever. I pretended to be Martin Sheen, and I pretended to be a particular character that Martin Sheen had portrayed in The American President, where he was the chief of staff. And so for a couple of days, I became my dad's a chief of staff, and I found that to be real helpful. Just in pretending to be someone else to make the decisions. And that very same week, my mother passed over, and so then I pretended to be a reporter because I wanted to speak at my mother's funeral. I understood I'd only have one opportunity to speak at my mother's funeral, and so I pretended to be a reporter, and so I spoke for about 5 minutes at my mother's funeral, and I was able to get through that. So it was a very stressful, very stressful week, and but I managed somehow to get through that. Okay, someone says I have no idea how to be myself. Okay, that's really interesting. Uh, I don't know. I'll be 50 years old this year, so I've got lots of practice on being myself. So I guess my advice to you would be just to hang in there, and you'll find your way as you go along. That seems to be par for the course for everybody.
I pretended to be different actor people when I was a teenager,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think maybe that was probably normal.
Yeah, yeah, it's a coping strategy, you know. It's a coping strategy. So, and I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, Martin Sheen. There's a story about Martin Sheen. The first character, you know, his name is not Martin Sheen. His name is it starts with an R. It's of course it's a Spanish name, but his last name is Estevez. Of course, one of his sons kept Emilio Estevez kept that name. But anyway, the first character Martin Sheen created was Martin Sheen, and that was so he could get hired on as an actor because he didn't think anybody would want to hire an Estevez, but they might want to hire a Sheen. So, and I think all actors have a persona that they put on when they go to an audition or something to make them stand out above the rest. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that in moderation. Now, a fugue state, which is kind of related to DID, a fugue state is when you actually become somebody else and you forget your old identity. And or maybe another way to look at that would be one of the alters takes over and another alter recedes into the background or whatever. But yeah, it is. Some of this stuff is kind of strange to think
Yeah.
about. If we think about it too much, we wind up doing somersaults in our heads, and that can't be very healthy. So, okay, I'm just going to stick around here. I finished the United States of Terra, which is it was a TV show that was on Showtime. You know, Anastasia, if everybody else has been able to get in through the YouTube site, and so I don't know what else to tell you to do except it's got to be a problem on your end because two people I've gotten through on the YouTube site. So maybe shut everything down and bring everything back up and try it again.
Does she have a phone? Is that what she's getting on?
I'm not sure how she's doing it. I know she's she's visually impaired, so she has some special equipment that she uses. So I'm not sure how she's doing it. Another thing is, she's 3,000-4,000 miles away in England, so I don't know if that has
So it's
something to do
easier
with.
to get on a computer than it is on the phone or the iPad.
Yeah. I don't know that question. I don't know. I just assumed she was using a laptop like everybody else. So just shut everything down, bring it back up, and try again. But anyway, the United States of Terror was a program on Showtime that was, I ordered all 3 seasons of it or whatever, and the 3rd season I can understand why they canceled it, because it kind of went like downhill or whatever. The plot lines got really strange, and it was like they were jumping the shark every week or whatever. So, but I did like the first 2 seasons. I think part of it was more drama than it was a series about DID. So I don't know if folks in our community could get something out of it, or if folks. I hadn't thought about this till now, but if folks watching that might get the wrong idea about our community or whatever, that there's a psychopath working within each of us trying to kill everybody. That's just not true. That's just not true. So.
Yeah, I don't have that experience.
Yeah, self-harm, I think, is the biggest risk for people in our community. Joey talked about that. I believe it was Thursday night, and at the end of his video, he talked about hope. So as long as you have hope, you can overcome most anything. So and that's one of the big things we try to do in these hangouts is to spread hope, let people know that there is hope. So yeah. I don't know if you can get it on Netflix or whatever, but it may not even. I know there are some clips on YouTube, but like I said, the first 2 seasons were really good. They seemed to explore DID, but then season 3 they went off the tracks.
Yeah, I've already watched it a long time ago when it was on Showtime.
Yeah. Did you feel that way about the last season?
I don't know. I thought it was like way out there, but then again, the woman who directed it has DID.
Yeah.
So she's the one that directed it that way.
Yeah. Well, I think some
that's still her experience.
Yeah, I think some producers got a hold of her and said, "Hey, we need to spice it up," because an altar that was one of her altars was very destructive. It was an introject of the person that had abused her when she was a child or whatever, and he didn't come out till season 3, which I didn't find that very credible, But I mean, it's possible, anything's possible. But like I said, I really enjoyed the first 2 seasons, but the 3rd season I could take it or leave it. So.
I wish they would have kept it on because I liked it.
Yeah, but I was trying to imagine what a season 4 would be like. They went to Boston, so I don't know if season 4 would have started with her not making it to Boston or with her making it to Boston, because she jumped into some water or whatever. So I don't know where they would have taken it or whatever, but obviously if she gets well, the series is over. So they couldn't let her get well just for that reason or whatever. I thought they would do a little bit more with the sister. I'm sure the sister had some traumas too that they really didn't talk about that much. So, but it is what it is. So.
It's a TV show.
Yeah, a TV show. So. And that's the other thing, about 15 years ago, there was a TV show called House Calls, and it was a half-hour show, and it was just psychologists going to people's houses and helping everybody, and it lasted 3 months. And then when it went off the air, I thought, well, there'll never be a good psychology show on. And of course, now we have intervention. We have Dr. Phil, who's, he's touch and go sometimes or whatever, but he's a licensed psychologist, and we have some other shows like that. So I think there's room for psychology on TV, and those are kind of shows that I like to watch. There was one called 8 Minutes. It only had like 4 episodes, and then it went off the air or whatever. But it was about prostitutes, and this guy, a minister who would pretend to be a John and try to get these prostitutes some help or whatever. And that was a really interesting show too. But so there's room for some good psychology shows on TV or whatever. Intervention is my favorite right now. It's such a good show. I highly recommend it to anybody. Okay, and another thing in the media that I finished for the second time, When Rabbit Howls, and I had actually forgotten how that book ended. It has a really, really neat ending. So, has anyone read When Rabbit Howls by Trudy Chase? She's no longer with us, sad to say, but she had a successful life. She was a real estate agent, did a lot of things. She worked primarily for herself because people with or disorder have problems holding jobs sometimes for obvious reasons, for lack of trust of authority and different altars and what have you. Revictimization, if I could say that, comes into play. So, but anyway, it was just a really, really good book. I read it probably about 20 years ago, and so I needed to read it again to refresh my memory. And she's one of the first to say, I will not have my altars integrated back into one thing, which I have my doubts about if that can even happen or whatever. So, any thoughts about that? Okay. And like I say, we can talk about anything that anybody wants to bring up. So we're not limited to my questions.
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, no problem. We're an open campus here, so if someone leaves, I'm just going to assume that they had a very good reason to leave. The other thing we're trying to do in our Hangouts is we're trying to minimize triggers, which Eric, you don't have to worry about, but some of those old timers do or whatever. So so if I inadvertently trigger you and you need to leave, that's fine too. So okay, here's a question I stole from the Quakers. The Quakers, they have meetings, and sometimes at the beginning of the meetings they'll ask questions, which is about themselves, about the church, about how things are going or whatever. They're called Quaker queries. So I stole one from them, and the one I stole was, how do we best encourage each other in our community? So.
Through example?
By example. Yeah, that's great. Rather than try to tell somebody how to do something, we just show them a very, very good example. And I think I've used this quote or anecdote before, but St. Augustine, I said, I believe he said, preach a sermon, and if necessary, use words. And the example of our life is the best sermon we can give somebody. So, okay. Any other comments about that?
Not for me.
Okay. I've stolen some questions from the Kardashians. I know everybody hates the Kardashians, but One thing they used to do, I don't think they do it anymore, but they around the dinner table they used to sit around and they used to ask each other some questions, and the first question would be, what was the high point of your week?
The high point of my week?
Yeah, I guess I'll share. The high point of my week was a week ago. I went to this training. EFT practitioner Brad Yates came to Houston and did a day-long workshop on EFT plus a little bit of hypnosis, and that's been the high point of my week. And I tell you what, I've been having neat dreams. I've been waking up with some good ideas or whatever, and the changes I think will be ongoing. And I want to find a good hypnotist in Houston and maybe do 2 or 3 sessions. Because if one session really helps you out, I can just imagine what 3 sessions could do for you or whatever. So that was the high point of my week.
The high point of my week was getting my basketball state ring.
Wow.
And it also has my name engraved in it.
Wow. My sister played basketball. She played up to the collegiate level or whatever, and then she had some problems and had to drop out or whatever. But I really admire basketball players. She would play with injuries and sickness and everything else. You couldn't keep her off the court.
Well, mine would be getting a offer for a phone interview for a job.
Okay, well we'll keep our fingers crossed for you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's some good news, and I guess what goes along with that is what was the low point of your week?
My mom.
Okay. I guess. Go ahead.
Mine would probably be yesterday when I had to stay in a storm shelter for maybe an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said earlier, I'm glad you and your friends and family are all okay. I've never been. Well, I take that back. I think we had a tornado when I lived in Tennessee. I remember the sky turned greenish yellow. It got really eerie, and we had an oak tree back behind our house. In fact, it was like the point where 3 properties came together. This oak tree was probably over 100 years old and probably over 100 feet tall. Well, the tornado knocked it down, and luckily it knocked it down away from the house or whatever. And we were living in a mobile home at that time, and so I think I was a little kid, so I think we hunkered down in a closet or something or whatever. But it could have gone the other way. I mean. We were really fortunate in that, and like I said, I'm glad everybody's okay, and I understand. Well, we're getting ready for hurricane season, as I kind of alluded to before. There's a hurricane, not a hurricane, but a tropical storm off the coast, I think South Carolina, and they're bracing for that. So it seems like hurricane season may be starting a little bit earlier this year, but which means we just have to prepare for it earlier. You always keep a full tank of gas. You always make sure you have extra water and canned goods on hand, because the last time Hurricane Ike, our power was out for 10 days. My father had bought a generator, so we had some limited power, and of course it was cool. After a hurricane blows through, the temperature is generally cooler or whatever. So we didn't have any air conditioner, but we didn't need any air conditioner, so so you just stay prepared. I guess if you live in an area that's prone to hurricanes or wildfires or earthquakes or whatever your region serves up. Okay.
But also low part was during I think it was like a class or something. I kind of And yes, I do not have the idea,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a kind of weird, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I found this note thing that was in one of my books
Yeah.
that, and it was addressing to me, and it was by a name I don't remember, but I
Yeah.
know it wasn't anyone that is around the part around
Uh-huh.
me. So I got confused and I freaked out.
Yeah. Huh. That would be confusing. But you know, DID is a spectrum or a continuum. The part I have is something called DID-NOS, not otherwise specified or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I don't have periods of time where I black out and another alter takes over or whatever. There's um, my conscious mind is always on the bridge, but I do have, I call them co-personalities or sub-personalities that do make their presence known from time to time or whatever. Sometimes I can hear them talking in in my head. You know, I call them inner children. So don't be surprised if later on you find yourself that you're somewhere on the spectrum. And of course, dissociation. Anybody who's been through trauma does go through dissociation. So, okay, Jessica has a question. Do your alters dress differently or do totally different things than you? And uh, well, mine. Well, basically, I have three wardrobes, but it's not because of my alter. It's because I've had three different sets of jobs. One job where I had to dress in a suit and tie or whatever. Then another job that was sort of dressy casual. And then another job that was casual. So I have three wardrobes, but not because of my alters per se. But my dress is pretty conservative. You know, I don't wear shorts or anything like that until it gets real hot, which here in Houston will be about 2 weeks from now. So you'll be seeing my chicken legs out there on the streets of Houston
Hmm.
simply because of the heat and for no other reason. So
Oh, the people around here are just weird. It'll be freezing cold and everybody will be wearing shorts. It doesn't really matter.
yeah, well, when I was at the University of Georgia, which is close to Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever, in the wintertime, you know, the mornings would be chilly, and the afternoons would be okay. And so you see people walking around in sweaters and shorts, you know, and later on they would take the sweater off or whatever. So, you know, but the older I get, the more cold-natured I am or whatever, and I don't like I don't like extremes. I don't like it to be extremely hot or extremely cold or whatever. But when I was a kid, man, it could not be hot enough for me. I absolutely loved hot weather, but not anymore. My favorite season now is the fall. I like nice chilly mornings where you can kind of sleep in, and then warm afternoons where you can get up and do whatever you need to do outside or whatever. So
I like the winter because it gives me an excuse to stay inside.
yeah. Well, in Houston, I mean, we had 1 year for a month every day, it got up to 100 degrees, and so we all stayed inside. People would make jokes about getting into their cars in the garage and driving to work and getting out in the garage at work or whatever, and never being out in the sunlight unless they had to go grocery shopping or something. So,
Dang.
okay, here's another question. Do your alters the second part of the question is, do your alters do totally different things than you do? And I've spoken about this in other hangouts, and my alters, basically I have 3 or 4 libraries for all the subjects that we'd like to read about. So psychology, spirituality, uh, uh, philosophy, history. So, you know, and I do have a little bit of that hoarder mentality you were talking about Wednesday night, Jessica, or whatever. And what I heard is books. Books to me are like children. I hate to throw one away. So
I have lots of books too.
yeah,
Me too. Most of mine I don't even read, but I still have them.
yeah. Well, if you live long enough, you'll forget what's in those books, and you'll want to read them again. That's what's happening to me.
Well, with the spiritual books, I just kind of not read any because it's just like I got to a point where that's their perception of their reality. It's not
Yeah,
set in stone. So they're all saying the same freaking thing in different words. So why not just
yeah,
listen to my own inner voice?
yeah. That's what I'm finding out. The Theosophical Society is real good about encouraging people to think for themselves. The Unitarians are real good about encouraging people to think for themselves. And if you look at the history of Christianity, the Protestant Reformation was started by people who wanted everybody to interpret the scriptures for themselves. But of course, once they got their own churches up and running, then that church's line became the line everybody had to toe or whatever. But I definitely think that everybody should read the Bible at least one time. They should you go to the library, get you a good modern translation of the Bible, and read it at least one time, and then think about it for yourself or whatever. And don't take what these preachers say as pun intended, the gospel, because as you know, a lot of times preachers will get it wrong, and they'll take one aspect of the Bible and they'll drown every other aspect of the Bible or whatever. Just empathize, or not empathize. That's the wrong word, but they'll focus on one thing to the exclusion of everything else. So
Yeah.
I checked the YouTube site a minute ago, and it seems like there's just a few of us. So here, and that's the
Well,
other
I
thing.
mean, like extremely different. Like, do you do anything extremely different?
Not extremely different. I know. It could have been. I know some people uh, do drugs. That's the great thing about the intervention show, that drugs allow you to do things that you normally wouldn't do. You know, and I don't know if that's well, there's got to be some dissociation there or whatever. So, but no, not not extremely different. I used to do. Used to go out to nightclubs and things like that, but that just it's not fun anymore. So so I'm kind of like, I don't know, kind of in the middle, moderate to conservative. I'm very, very liberal in my views, but as far as my activities and my behaviors, I'm moderate to conservative. So
I don't do anything out of the blue or
yeah,
unusual, like these people that go out and have like a whole different life or anything, you
oh
know.
yeah,
One
yeah,
altar goes out and to like a nightclub per se, or
yeah,
and another one does
yeah,
something totally different. I mean, nothing like that.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean, I've heard some stories about guys that'll marry two women, and they'll have two households, and they're living basically two lives or whatever. I can't even fathom something like that. How you could juggle that and juggle a job and pay all the bills. I can't even fathom how you could do something like that. But there are guys that do that have uh, double lives or whatever. But I
Um,
couldn't do that.
I saw this TV show. It was like this guy had like I think it was like 4 or 5 wives.
Ooh,
Isn't that
ooh,
like polygamy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of that religion.
Yeah, yeah. 2020 had a show on that last night. I've got on my DVR, but I haven't watched it yet or whatever. And I just feel really bad for the kids. I mean, the parents have made some bad decisions, which, if it only affected the parents, that'd be one thing. But when you affect little kids and they don't have any choice and they grow up knowing this, it's not a good thing at all. It's not a good thing at all, or whatever. And the women that do break away from that and they try to get their kids back, I mean, it's just horrendous. It's a horrific experience for them or whatever. So, but I couldn't even imagine that or whatever. Just one family I think would be enough. I'm a
Well,
bachelor.
that's why
Go ahead.
that's why that day that I was on there with Jamie and she was talking about not knowing being there when her kid was born.
Yeah,
Nothing like that happened to me. I couldn't imagine that. I mean, I didn't have the pain.
yeah.
My
Well,
pain was disassociated, but I
yeah,
remembered everything when it come to my kid, and if I didn't, I would be upset.
yeah. There have been a couple of times when I have dissociated. One was when we moved. I'd gone to schools in one county all the way up until I was like a sophomore, and then we moved to a different state. We moved from Tennessee to Georgia. And on the last day of school, my French class threw me a little party with a little cake, and I just zoned out. I don't know where I went, but I can't remember what was said to me or whatever. It's like I was just walking around in a fog. And then the very same thing happened to me, I guess, about 10 years or so later, and it was a similar situation. I had turned in a notice where I was working or whatever, and the very same thing happened. They had a little party for me during the last break time or whatever. There was a little cake, and I just zoned out. I just zoned out, and I went someplace, and then the party ended or whatever. So, and people were talking to me, and I don't remember what I said back or what they were saying to me. So I guess it was just two very, very stressful occasions or whatever, and probably brought up some abandonment issues, and I don't know what else, whatever. But those are the only two times that's ever happened to me or whatever. And like I say, I was just really, really stressed out.
I zone out a lot, but it usually it's like during an argument, and I did the other day with my mom. I was in public, and she
Hmm.
was talking to me about that whole job issue that I turned
Yeah.
down because of my school. And
Well,
she was
yeah.
talking all stern and how she didn't agree with me and all that stuff, and I zoned out for a while. Said
That's
some things, and then I came back to it, and she was talking about something different, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
mm, mm. That's the thing about parents is that, well, if we were to grow to weigh 300 pounds, they would still call us their little baby. I
My mom
remember,
is my major problem of probably
yeah,
where it all
yeah,
started.
yeah. Well, that's a tough row to hoe. My mother, whenever I walked into the house, I was like 12 years old again. I had a hard time convincing them that I was an adult or whatever. So, but my dad, like I say, I lost my mother, and that's going to be the low point of my week. Will be tomorrow when there's nobody to buy flowers for or whatever, and I don't really feel like going to the gravesite or whatever, which I know a lot of people will do that, but it's just going to be a sad day tomorrow for me because I don't have a mother to call or to buy flowers for or anything like that or whatever.
Yeah.
But parents are, I know parents do the best they can, but there's not really a handbook for parents. And
No,
and the
there
sad
ain't.
and the sad thing is, 9 times out of 10, the parents will do for us what their parents did for them. So if your great-grandparents didn't have nothing, then that's what your grandparents got, is what your parents got, it's what you get. Thankfully now, we have resources, and those of us that have kids, like I said before, I'm a bachelor, I don't have any kids, but there's all kinds of resources out there that they didn't even have when I was growing up or whatever. We had Dr. Spock, but everybody thought he was a nut. No one took what he said seriously. You know, he was just a nut out there. You know, but we have a lot more resources. Okay, the last Kardashian question. I guess we've kind of touched on this. What did you learn this week?
I learned all my stuff I learned how to backward chain and forward chain with applied behavior analysis.
Okay. That sounds very, very useful and very, very technical. So,
I did not learn anything this week.
okay, well.
I don't even remember this week anything.
Oh gosh, well, I learned something about Abraham Lincoln. A friend of mine loaned me a magazine that was a special issue about his life or whatever, and I learned that he, at one point in the early 1860s, he wanted to gather up all the African Americans and send them to Central America. And of course, nothing came of it or whatever. But he was a man that was trying to do everything he could to keep the country together. And I think war was his last resort. I don't think he actually wanted to go to war, but he saw that there's no other way. So I learned that this week. So and I always try to learn something. You know, I think it's important for us to learn things. You know, even if we're not in school. They used to say that the average college graduate would read one book a year after he graduated. I thought to myself, man, this college was the end of your education, I guess. But college is not the end of our education. If you were to get the same job and hold it for 40 years, whatever, chances are you'd be retrained. You'd have to be retrained at least 4 times simply because of technology. You know. Technology is so different from when I was in high school. You know, computers. You know, computers when I was in high school, they looked like Model Ts compared to the computers we have now. You know, of course, now we have computers you can wear on your watch or on your wrist as a watch. Yeah, I don't know too much about gender identity issues. We talked a little bit about Bruce Jenner. I'm glad he came out and shared his personal story with everybody because I think it'll help a lot of people. It'll help a lot of people on all sides of the issue. So just getting understanding and awareness out there about that. So.
From my understanding, that androgynous is when a person consists of male and female traits, or male and feminine traits. Masculine and feminine traits. Right.
I think Bruce said that he was this biologically everything about him was male or whatever. Now I understand in Germany they do have that third category or whatever, and something like I want to say something like 0.1% of Germans have male and female parts, and there's the highest percent of any population anywhere in the world. So
I find it that it's actually kind of, I guess, kind of confusing because there are like a lot of gender identities out there that I've learned about, because I thought there was like only maybe male, female, and gender fluid because that's what I identified as for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized, like, demi-girl, demi-guy, two-spirit, bi-gender, all kinds of stuff like that.
Well, didn't Facebook come out with something like 55 or 60 different gender identifications that you could select for your profile? I mean, it was something like that, 55 or 60, and all the different combinations and variations, you know. But it's something that we definitely need to be aware of and be understanding of or whatever. Now, as far as my altars, I've got probably about 20 that I know about, and then I've probably got more on the lower decks, what I call the lower decks or whatever. And I think out of all of that, maybe only one of them is actually female. So, so it really hasn't been an issue for me.
For me, it's kind of like a big part of it because like every time I make a video, I won't even go back to try to edit anything because I just can't listen to my own voice.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's really just work because I kind of have that, like, I guess, not high pitch, but kind of feminine voice, which I just can't stand.
Mm.
If I know I'm like in a video or a recording or something, I will not watch it.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you probably won't not like watching this one.
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
I'm in it, so I really don't need no need to watch it.
Yeah, you've lived it or whatever. So, just checking.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel really bad about Anastasia. She can't get in here for no reason. I wish Joy were here with us because he might have an idea. Joy is real good about technical things or whatever. So I'd like to have him I'd like to have him in the Hangout. Oh, this brings up another thing. Jessica, did you go to that? Or not go to, but were you involved with the post-traumatic stress disorder hangout that they had on Sunday night?
No, I watched a little bit of it.
Okay, I think Jamie was in it, and I know Joy was in it. Joy actually helped the guy to set it up or whatever in the beginning. So, but I was just wondering, is this guy going to do one? Was it a one-time deal, or is he going to do one a couple of times a month or once a week?
I have no clue. I just know there was a lot of people there that had serious DID issues or post-traumatic stress issues.
Well, they are definitely our brothers and sisters, and it'd be nice if we can kind of hook up the two groups or whatever. It'd be nice, you know, if he could do that every Sunday. I realize the young man's in school, and I think he was getting ready for his finals, so maybe he'll have a little bit more time this summer. But the part that I listened to was real good. He was real good, and seemed to be a very, very good moderator or whatever. So hopefully he'll come back and do some more, and we'll get these groups going some more or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is another question. There's, if you go to the Huffington Post, they have an article about 7 questions to ask yourself at the end of the day. Most of them, 3 of them we covered with the Kardashian questions, but I will bring up the 4th question, which is, what can I do better tomorrow?
Oh, what was the question again?
The question is, what one thing can you do better tomorrow? I mean, how would you how are you planning to improve yourself tomorrow?
Okay, that's a kind of a hard question for me.
Okay, well,
get up
obviously,
early.
Yeah, obviously, I'm a self-improvement guy. I buy 3 new books a month. and I try to review one of my old books a month. So I'm trying to read one book every week or whatever. And so I've got another book coming on hypnosis, and I've got another book coming on qigong. I'm trying to get back into tai chi. You know, the older you get, the more you have to exercise to stay in shape or whatever. So I want to do some nice, gentle exercises for myself in terms of flexibility. I do a little bit on the treadmill, and I do some push-ups and some sit-ups or whatever. But I'm finding out that my flexibility is really starting to go down. So I want to do some exercises to bring that back up or whatever. So, and yoga, I just find yoga to be, it's a little bit much for me, you know. And I realize you don't have to twist yourself up into a pretzel to get the benefits out of yoga or whatever, but Tai Chi, you know, the slow, graceful movements or whatever, that seems to be right up my alley. So, and I had studied it before, so that's what I'm going to do this week. Hopefully those books will come in this week, and I'll start reading them, and I'll start, you know, getting my flexibility back a little bit more. And, you know, keeping your body healthy also keeps your mind healthy too. I mean, it's a question of blood flow, really, when it comes down to it. Okay, I am down to my last question. So this last question has to last for an hour. I'm kidding, of course. But the last question I have for today is, if you won $1 million, what would you do?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have no idea.
Jessica, if you won the lottery tomorrow and the check was for $1 million, what would you do?
Well, I would buy a lot. I would put 3 trailers on it, like park models.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get like a motorhome thing, and I would travel.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm 50 years old, so $1 million would probably be enough to last the rest of my life or whatever. But I think what I would do is I'd buy a condo someplace, like maybe a one-room apartment, probably in Austin or someplace that wasn't too expensive, and then that would be my home base. And then, like you, I would buy probably a Class C RV or whatever, you know, and then I would travel a lot. I would travel a lot. Because that's one thing I didn't do when I was younger that I think I'd like to do now. Now, if you'd asked me the question 10 years ago, my answer would have been I would start a church and I would preach and preach until all the money was gone. But I don't feel called to that sort of a ministry. I do feel called to a ministry, and this is part of it, and then doing the EFT practitioner work is also part of it or whatever. And hopefully I'm going to start making some money doing that here shortly or whatever. I got 1 or 2 things more than I need to do, but that's what I would do if I had $1 million. I'd buy me a little place someplace in the travel trailer, and I'd see our country or whatever. So it's a lot of country to see.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah. Well, they say if you ever do win the lottery, not to make any big decisions for a year, to get you a good financial counselor, a financial planner, or whatever, so you don't make any weird decisions. Because what happens 9 times out of 10,
I'm my own financial counselor. I wouldn't get no financial counselor.
Well, you might need help for your taxes or something like that or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, they say what happens when someone wins the lottery is they lose it all.
That's because they blow it.
Yeah, they blow it, and then in 5 years they're worse off than they were before they started or whatever.
Well,
So,
really, I mean, you only live once, so you're gonna die eventually. So
yeah.
the money is just a facade anyway.
Yeah. Well, this guy in Georgia, he had, oh, welcome, Joy. Welcome to the party.
Hey, Joey.
Hello, friends. I'm sorry I'm late. I just woke up. Had a
You're
long
fine.
night. Feeling sick.
Hey.
I
Yeah.
got kicked over. I haven't been able to sleep all night because the pain in my neck and my back have just been from all the I guess the tension.
10:20.
Yeah.
Just causing
I didn't
physical
call
pain
you.
on top of sinus pain too, and it's just like I'm surprised I made it through last night. I don't even really remember half the conversation from last night. I was so sick.
Well, I think I saw at least one switch last night, Joey, to be honest with you.
Fine. I wanted them to. I wanted to just like. I just wanted them to have fun on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And I think we did. I think you did a really good job. And the one young man that wants to save everybody, I'm glad you asked him to excuse himself. So because that's not what these groups are about, you know.
No.
So I'm glad you took the action you did or whatever. But and I think everybody else had a very good time. So
Yeah, I did. For the majority, everybody, it seemed like everybody was having a good time, so just went with it, roll with it, you know, and
Oh, yeah.
Just-
Joey. I was going to apologize for not being there because I was trying to be at a graduation, and a tornado was coming, so we had to all get into shelter.
yeah, I heard. How did everything work out with that?
It was okay. I am now claustrophobic.
No, I mean the tornado. Did it hit you, or?
I think they said like it either went like south or north from us, so I think it just like moved
Okay.
on. But I think now there's like maybe five or six kids missing in the town, 2 towns away from me
Wow.
that it hit. So
My.
yeah.
Weather
I was
can be.
watching a movie last
What were you
night.
watching?
Huh?
What were you watching?
I watched Interstellar.
Oh, I watched that. I bought that on DVD. It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. It was a long movie, but it was good.
Yeah, I love Matthew McConaughey.
Oh my gosh.
He's one of
Matthew McConaughey.
my favorite actors.
Apparently, a lot of people do.
Is he the one? Is he the one doing those weird car commercials?
No, he's the one. You know, he's the all right. You know, he's the chill dude from what's it called? Dazed and Confused. If you ever seen.
Okay.
Remember the dude who goes, "I like the high school girls because they just keep on. I keep on getting older and they stay the same age." You know, like
Okay.
I'm like.
I know that one.
Well, Joy, the question we had on the table when you joined us was, if you won $1 million, what would you do with it?
Burn it.
Seriously?
Seriously, I'd put it in the middle of the street and show everybody and burn it in front of all of them.
Oh, dang.
Literally.
You wouldn't want to travel or?
Nope. I don't need money to travel, and I'll prove it to them. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't burn it here in my streets. That would be useless. I would actually go to the Federal Reserve in Washington, D.C., put the million in the front of the building, and set it on fire right there in front of them. To show them I'm not going to give a fuck about
The
their
money is not the problem. It's how people use the money
Yeah.
is the problem.
Right, but I know this. I know. How do you say this? Money is the problem, but it's the way it's used is the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
In other words, you can have a currency for buying and selling and trading for goods. That makes sense. You know, because you want to be able to have something to offer to trade with so the other people can flow it. So you have some kind of society that builds off of, you know, a gain for something for their efforts, but it goes towards something else that they need. You know, it's almost as good as if you did a barter system. If I did construction on your house because I had to do construction and you have a farm, you can give me a month's worth of food for a job I do in the house. Now I don't have to worry about food for my family for a month because I did a job. You know what I mean? Are we doing a job for a company or for our individual selves? That's my question when it comes to money or anything like that. So you go and you work for these corporations to go make $10 an hour, and you work 40 hours a week to make $400, you get taxed on top, you're probably paying back the student loans still on top of that paycheck that you went to college to get it for, and you can't even afford to buy the products that the company makes that you work for. That's nonsense. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Unheard of. I've never understood it from the beginning, and it will never make sense. And then everything has interest on top of it, so you're automatically born into debt.
Well, this has been going on for centuries.
Right.
A long time ago when you had to pay taxes, when Moses walked the earth. So when people worshipped calves and, you know, all that stuff, it's been going on since then.
Yeah, and
So,
my thoughts on it is money is supposed to be currency, right? So it only works if it flows. It's supposed to circulate.
Yeah.
And what we have now are people they're hoarding the money or whatever, and it's not circulating. If all the blood in my body went to my stomach and just kind of stayed there, you'd have to take me to the hospital because I would be sick. And so I think our economy is sick because, you know, they say you have to have $1 million in your 401k before you can even think about retiring. Well, that's just not practical. You can't give.
Most people don't even see $1 million in their lifetime.
No, we can't. And there's 7 billion people on the planet, so we're going to give all of them $1 million for their retirement.
No.
You know, the only way this system works if we circulate the money, and that's clearly not being done. In fact, I wish we would have an election every year because that's the only way these fat cats spend their money. You know, is getting their politicians into office. You know. I mean, they've already talked about how much money is going to be spent on our next election. It's an ungodly amount. Joy, while I've got you here, I need to ask a technical question.
Yeah.
How did you come in?
Right off your description.
Okay. Because
First
Anastasia.
thing I did is I forgot the conversation was today because I woke up sick. I wasn't feeling good, so I just decided to come upstairs, get myself started.
Yeah.
And I click on I open YouTube all the time.
Okay.
And on the list where you're on my left hand side under all my subscribers. So it had a red dot next to your name, and I was like, "Oh, Marvin does a live show." So I clicked your name, and it had the DID live Continuum Hangout with the description,
Yeah.
and I just clicked the link and got it and shut YouTube and closed YouTube.
Yeah. Well,
you did it. You did everything right tonight.
okay. Well, I'm glad. And you're a very good teacher. I remembered where the URL was. It's right at the very top. So.
Right.
But,
so you're looking at of the Hangout.
Yeah. But anyway, Anastasia, evidently her surgery went well, and that's the good news. The bad news is she can't get into the Hangout.
Okay.
And so you're the third person that's come through YouTube. So I know that link is working, and that's how she tried to come through. So, and we were talking about we don't know if she has an iPad or a phone or. We know she's seeing impaired, so she has special equipment. But the only thing I can figure out was that there's no problem on our end. It's got to be something to do with her end.
Yes.
That's
the way it is. As long as you're able to host it from your end and you can get the live feed going and everything else, anybody else coming in is causing the else to the server.
I know. A lot of times it has to do with your phone company too. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's like me. I have cable here, so I'm on a 20 megabyte download, 10 meg upload. You know what I mean? Even though the computer's dying, the speed's so fast that matter. You know, that's the only thing. The computer's dying. The speed's not a problem.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're just going to throw it open to whatever anybody wants to talk about because I have run out of questions and. I don't feel like recycling my questions just yet or whatever. So we'll just have an open house and we'll talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about.
Well, Jess and Eric, of course. Marvin, I got to talk to you last night. We had to talk with everything with the group and everything, but I didn't get to talk to Eric or Jess specifically last night to see how they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I'm glad the tornado missed you guys, but you know, I don't know what's coming more that way. So hopefully you guys don't have to go through that again. Because I can only imagine. I would just say, fuck it, let the tornado take me and stay in my room. I wouldn't go and stick in no shelter. Fuck that. You ain't getting me in a goddamn building with a bunch of people I don't know. I'd rather die. You know, it's like it's that simple.
But the thing about it is the people in the Midwest that grow up with it, like
right, you grow up with it. I guess you get used to it. I don't know. Remember, I remember watching in the during World War II when they used to have the students dive under the desks or something.
Yeah. Duck and cover.
And everything.
Yeah, duck and cover. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, here on the Gulf Coast, we're looking for hurricanes, and we're preparing for hurricanes. There's one, not a hurricane, but a tropical storm off of South Carolina or whatever. So it's just whatever region you live in the country, you got to prepare for earthquakes, brush fires. You know, whatever your region has, you just prepare for it. So.
Oh, last night I heard something too. I don't know about because we're on the East Coast, but there's a lot of our friends who are on the West Coast now. And I just heard that I was watching something. And, oh no, we were talking to Ali last night about it. That's what it was. We were talking about the water systems. You know, everybody, water and everything. And we were trying to explain to him how polluted our water is over here, how bad it is, you know, with the way they put chemicals and toxins in our water supply and actually fill it with fluoride and all that shit. And over there they have a rule. They don't drink the tap water.
I got the air violin going.
That was the happy music. I was going.
Yeah.
I was just bopping back.
A musical interlude.
Yeah, but shit. Meow.
But you were talking about the water, Joey?
Oh yeah, and he was saying that over there they don't drink the tap water. They only wash their hands with the tap water. They don't drink from it. They actually have to go to the store to buy their drinking water. And we were explaining, we were like, we drink out of hoses over here, you know? We don't we like hook up a hose and drink out of a hose. Yeah.
You remember Married with Children?
Man,
Married with Children, and the guy, the father said one time, we're just cockroaches.
Yeah.
Everybody else will die off, but we'll still be hanging on because we're like cockroaches.
It's you know, all them old damn. What was his name? Ed Bundy, right?
Yeah, Ed Bundy. Yeah. And the guy that played him is a really, really good actor. And he also has a black belt in karate, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's a pretty much, he handles himself in movies where you see like he does a couple action scenes and a couple other movies that he's done. You know, he can definitely. He's always been that kind of dude who's like Ed Bundy. You know what I mean? Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of dude he kind of reminds me of in real life when he goes home. He just sticks his hands in his pants, sits on the couch with the remote. Ah, fuck it.
Did you hear that The Simpsons have been renewed for at least another 2 years?
No, I never really watched The Simpsons.
I mean, that show's been on for 30 years.
I know, it's been a while.
And the actors that worked on that show, they only worked like maybe 4 hours a day because everything they read. So there's no makeup or anything like that or whatever. So they're just reading, and they go in at 9 o'clock. They work till 1 o'clock. They go have lunch or something, and that's their day.
Right.
Go lay down.
I don't wanna.
Kitty needs a nap.
All she does is meow.
She's not in heat, I hope.
No, her name's Biatch.
Okay.
Biatch.
Biatch, that's all she does is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the weather changing is killing me, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could just get past this part.
Yeah.
roll
Oh,
over.
we had someone from Australia last night, Joey, and she was talking about how chilly it was. I forget, when we have summer, they have winter or whatever, and they're also, I think they're 15 hours ahead of us. So most of the time, it's already tomorrow over there.
12, for as far as I know. The furthest
Yeah.
I've reached in Australia is 12 hours. It's like
Yeah,
they're our total reverse, Australia.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas Britain's like only like 5 hours. And
yeah,
what else
yeah,
is there? I've met friends from all over the goddamn globe. Like Thailand's the same thing too. Thailand
yeah.
is almost exactly 12 hours.
Well,
Separate.
they must be exactly due north of Australia then.
They sit right below. It's a little island right below China on the right hand
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
China.
But I mean, if you were to run a line north to south, they'd probably be on the same
Right on
line.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have never really looked at a world map per se, and once in a while I'll take a look and try to find out where these certain areas are, but it still don't make sense to me. It's just looking at a map. It's like, okay.
well,
It's just
the world clock will tell you instantly what time it is anywhere in the world. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I just love how people live in the future. Think about it. In
Yeah.
Australia, right now, it's 4:30 in the morning on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm wondering, like, if they could watch our football games for us on like Sundays and then call me back with the good winners.
My brother had this weird idea that if you flew a plane backwards, that you could go back in time or something every time you went over the international date line. I don't think that's very realistic or whatever, but I'm glad this internet thing is tying the whole world. I mean, we had someone from Canada last night that her first language is French, and she's evidently she's learning English, and so that was real neat. And
Who was
I
that
don't know,
last night?
I think her name was Rosie.
Bro, yeah, I didn't know who she was when she came in.
Yeah,
So
she had been I think in one of Jamie's hangouts or whatever, but she didn't show her face the first time.
okay.
And so I think last night was the first time, she was in a chair or whatever, and
Well, it was nice to have a couple new faces there. There was definitely,
yeah,
I mean, well,
yeah,
actually, Chance,
yeah, she was real neat, and the lady from North Carolina was real neat
wait,
too.
what's her name? That's the one I'm trying to think of. I can't remember her name. And
Yeah,
I'm sorry about it, because, like,
well, she'll show back up, and but
yeah,
she was,
I see it. I know what it is. But I know Kate's been joining us more often.
yeah,
She started doing videos,
yeah,
everybody's starting to open up and starting to do videos. And what happened was I was one night, it was real late,
mhm,
and I was sitting here and I was getting ready to go to sleep, but I was talking to Jem. Me and Jem talk all the time.
mm,
And I was telling her, I was tired, I'm not feeling good, I just think I'm going to go lay down for a little bit. And at the same time, Destiny had sent me a message saying that she needed a video talk to somebody now, she's going to kill herself. And I'm like, not the best time to catch me right now with this one, And then she sent me an apology afterwards saying, she wasn't going to do none of that or anything like that. She was just upset, wanted to talk to somebody. And I said, I understand, but when you're in that kind of situation, you got to understand, I've never self-harmed. I've never done any of that. You're talking about wanting to self-harm yourself, and I don't even know how to talk you out of it because I've never dealt with it.
If somebody was on a bridge and about to jump, I would be the last person you want me to talk him down, because I would freeze. I would not know what to say.
I asked Jem at the same time because I was, like I said, I was ready to get off at her. I said, this is just hitting me up and I don't know what to do. She's like, just tell her to go to crisis or something. You can't put yourself in that.
Yeah,
I was like, I know, but I can't because I don't know how to deal with that. Like I'm on my own verge of not wanting to exist. How do I help somebody else keep going and fighting when I'm trying to find reasons to fight for myself? And I think that's where it comes really hard, where we can't counsel each other when it comes to that shit. Literally, it'll just be like, all right, well then if you feel that way, then just fucking go do it. End it. Fuck, I wish I could. Like really, is that what you want to hear?
No, no. But I follow somebody. She always puts the suicide prevention hotline number in her description boxes or whatever. So maybe we should start doing that. You know,
Really, I
'cause-
don't know, but you know, at certain points when it does seem bad for everybody, and I understand because I have a complete alter called death.
yeah,
He doesn't seem life is real, and you know, if I'm afraid of actually talking to somebody who's thinking about death and triggering death and getting him to actually start thinking
yeah.
about things. So I'd be
Well-
putting myself in a detrimental situation.
One thing I've noticed. One thing I've noticed we really don't talk about, but I've noticed that there are a lot of manic depressive cycles going on in our groups. I've noticed, you know, one day somebody will be up, and the next day they'll be down in the dumps or whatever, and so I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that going on or whatever, and we just kind of have to shake it off. I think we've been doing a very good job about not taking things too personally. I triggered somebody the other day. I don't even know how I did it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't even know how I did it.
It just happens. It's there's
Yeah.
no way to explain it. You just like me. That's why I made my video after I did my video up. I give up. I'm done. You know, that was a day break. That was a break. That was a crack in the fragment of everything. You know, where I couldn't do nothing anymore. I just felt like I gave up.
But if you remind somebody of somebody, I mean, you can't help that. If you remind somebody of somebody, you know.
That's it. So I just, you know, I'm not afraid to put up how I feel and when I feel it. So if I do break, it's much easier just to let it out on a video and let it out. The only thing is everybody takes some of my videos now way too literal every time. Like I'm going to end something. It's not. It's just I'm putting it up on the, you know,
Yeah.
just releasing. That's how I know how to release now. That's how I keep myself going.
Yeah, that's like your dear diary. Yeah.
It is. It's the way to let me go and just be myself and
Yeah.
get it all out there. And I know
I think the more we learn about each other, the more understanding we are of everybody or whatever, and that's you know, that's going to happen as we grow, you know.
excuse me
So
for a second, I do have to blow my nose and I can't do it on camera. Not that.
okay. Okay. That is so true. That's why I think it's a good idea that we not try to host too many of these hangouts or whatever, because I think just hosting a hangout, I think, could be triggering for some folks or whatever. Speaking of Jamie, do you know if she's going to have a hangout on Monday?
She should be. I don't know. I haven't
I
heard
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
She usually
Okay,
tells
well,
me.
Okay. Well, normally I get an invite sometime Monday morning or whatever. So.
Right.
But
Yeah.
hey, we got 4 of these things going every week. Joey, I was going to ask you. You were in that thing on Sunday night with a post-traumatic stress disorder guy.
Yeah.
Is he going to do more of those, or is that just a one-time deal? I know he's in school.
I'm not sure. But I have him on my friends now on Google, so I can send him a message and ask him so you can attend one.
Okay. Well, it would just be nice. I mean, if only he could do it for the summertime or whatever, you know, because maybe he's not taking classes this summer or something. But he was a very good moderator. He was a very good moderator.
He handled the PTSD chat well, and like I said, I had a hard time relating to them. So
Yeah.
I shared my aspect of the DID related to the PTSD.
Well,
They're totally different.
and in my case, most of my traumas happened over 40 years ago, so I pretty well learned to deal with them. And I think people with our disorder, you know, they don't relive this stuff every day as you know, soldiers do or police officers do or whatever the trauma was. These folks are reliving it every day. They don't have a mechanism like we have to where we can give it to one of our alters or one of our alters takes it or whatever. But like I know you don't have dreams, Joy, but some of these folks, I mean, they go to sleep every night and they have bad dreams every night.
I know, they were all talking about that, and I was amazed by that. And I kind of like when they were asking me about that, I said, well, I don't dream. And they were like, yeah, I read what? And then Nat had said that, wow, he wished it was like that. And I said, well, let me rephrase this because maybe you guys didn't understand. I said, I don't dream. My nightmare is every day when I wake up my eyes and live in the world. I'll rephrase this so you understand what it's actually like on the set. You know, my peace is when I sleep. My nightmare is when I wake up.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a little different. You know, at least they get to wake up and live their lives and have a little bit of stress, it seems like, on everything else, but my nightmare never ends while I'm awake. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't trying to...
Don't the two go together?
Huh?
PTSD and disassociation, I mean, don't they go together?
I think so, in a way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, everybody in our community has had a trauma.
Yes. That's the difference. It's
how we deal with the trauma.
Exactly, how we deal with the trauma. Either it just becomes like a post-traumatic stress disorder where it actually haunts you throughout the rest of your life, throughout your dreams, and keeps on reminding you of what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
You end up like us, where we actually wake up and live the nightmare every day of all this shit that's going on that they're actually, who knows what their dreams and their nightmares are. We live it while we're awake. We can remember.
Well, I know some of the Vietnam vets, they couldn't even sleep with their wives. They would have violent dreams. They would have violent dreams, and they would thrash about or whatever, and the wives would have to go sleep somewhere else.
Yep.
Because they were back on the battlefield. But anyway, I think it's nice to have interaction with our community and their community, because I think when it's all said and done, we're brothers and sisters.
Oh, yeah, well, we're all. You look at everybody, you try to reach out to everybody who's got some kind of mental illness because you know what it's like.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to change mine up on my Hangout.
And that's a very good idea.
We're talking about DID a lot, so I'm trying to change mine up to different themes every week. And I don't know if I'm going to do mental health every week. It's like maybe I'm going to do something on positive self-awareness.
We could change them up. If we're going to host a show, it doesn't have to be so.
Yeah.
Like it seems like, for me, it seemed like it was getting overwhelming. Like we're trying to do all these to answer everything, so we can have them up high so other people could see what it was like for us and everything else. And then you realize that it's just us watching the video. So in the reality scope of it all, you know what I mean? The people who actually care and are involved with the whole thing. And at that point, it's like, great. So we have a little community. So who are we trying to actually pretend we're talking to when we're only talking to this little community that's here? And it's like, that's when I decided I'm not talking about, on Friday nights. I want everybody to relax. Just or whatever.
Well, that's what I got in the thing. Why are we even recording it? If nobody's watching it but us.
Well, but the thing about it is someone's going to watch it later on, and they're going to say, hey, this is how I can plug in or whatever, or this is what my son's going through, this is what my sister's going through or whatever. So I think it's beneficial to record them. But now, having said that, I don't think we need to record every single one of them.
Right. I mean, if we have a theme, if we're talking, about questions and answers or a theme, but if we're just sitting around talking about whatever, then who's going to want to watch that? That should be all fair.
But I see it as a, how would you put it? This is all research that's being done and documented on the internet, so for later on, you know, they talk about things. Hopefully these will all be saved on a server somewhere. People will be able to look back and say, oh, wow, look, there was a whole community that could see stuff that was more than what was going on.
I did a YouTube search on DID Hangouts, and we're the only game in town. We are the only game in town.
I know, that's why I came up with the thing, because there wasn't none there.
I am so glad you did. And now that we're having 4 of these a week or whatever, the desperation is starting to go. Because the first couple ones we had, people were so desperate to get in, How do I get in? How do I get in? Or whatever, And now it's becoming more of an accepted thing, and people know, hey, I've got 3 or 4 chances to plug in if I need someone to talk to or whatever. Oh, I said this earlier, Joey, but if you want people to link to you, just write a comment under my video, like "Great job, Marvin," or just something, just positive, a little bit positive, or whatever, and that way people can link to your channel.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I did last week. I did that last week with Jamie's video, Hangout or whatever, and a couple of people actually started following me or whatever. So
Oh,
if you
well,
can
yeah, I've already seen, like, over the last week, it must have been only a week and a half ago that I was happy enough to do my 100 subscriber video, but then it's now up to like 125 or 127 now after last week.
Yeah.
So I really don't care. I mean, it doesn't mean anything to me, you know. It's just like, you know.
No, but I'm saying as a way to network and hook up with each other.
Everything going,
You know, if when you post a comment, you're automatically posting a link to your channel. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, sorry guys, I just came in because I had to eat.
No, it's no problem, Mark.
We want you to eat. We want you to keep up your strength.
Indian
Eating is.
tacos.
Oh, I love tacos.
You know what?
Ours is like fry bread and then the regular taco stuff on top of it.
Mm-hmm. I just like the old cheap Taco Bell tacos, you know.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I also spending time with my brother.
Well, we also recommend that too. So.
If you like tacos, I went to. I used to have a friend who was completely Spanish, and they make these. Oh, I don't know what they are. They're deep fried, breaded. Just like almost like a panzerotti like type, if you know what that is, where they deep fry the crust of the bread and just throw it in the deep fryer and let it, you know, just deep fry the dough. But what they do is they fill it with beef. They're flavored beef, and when you eat it, it's like wow! It's like wow! This is amazing.
Okay.
I just can't remember all the name of them is.
Yeah. Jessica has to leave. She's got to do some homework. So bye, Jessica.
Bye, Jess.
Bye. Bye, Jessica. The invisible peace sign, though.
So now we're back down to 3.
The 3 has continued.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna show Joey. Joey.
Yeah.
This is the state ring I got.
Hold on.
And then I have it like on the. Yeah, I know it's.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, your ring.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got a still glimpse shot on my computer. My computer still froze.
Yeah, and then I got
My computer's not responding, so it's.
pals and things that I got. The mom made me.
Come on, computer. Not responding, huh? No.
Everything is still working on my side, and they're predicting storms in the area later on this afternoon. Not as bad as what they have on Oklahoma, but it's the same system. Yeah. It's the tail end of the system.
I don't have anything going on here right now. It's just it's this whole computer. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's just everything. There it goes. Now it's back. Or for a second it's flickering through the channels.
Well, I was watching YouTube last night, and a lot of times what I'll do if I'm watching YouTube and all they're doing is talking, I'll open up another window and look at Facebook or something else or whatever. And I went back to YouTube, and the screen was black.
Right.
I thought, oh gosh, something's wrong with my computer. But the computer knows if you're not watching the YouTube, so it blacks out the screen. So I guess they can save more bandwidth or something, you know.
Yeah.
Which in a way is kind of neat, because most of the time, what I do is when I get on the computer, I open up YouTube first, and I start listening to all the videos or whatever. And then while I'm doing that, I'll go through my email, check my Twitter, my Facebook, all the other stuff or whatever.
Right. And
generally, by the time I get done with the YouTube, I'm also done with everything else. So.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like I use YouTube as a podcast.
It's kind of like a job when you do this stuff, really. I know my parents still glitching and everything else, but I can still talk. Google's just really keeps on crapping out, but you can still hear me because my webcam's still connected. So
Yeah.
but shit.
Mm.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know. I thought we might get some folks from England today because that's one reason why I have it earlier, because it's earlier in England. Because what time would it be in England? Almost.
It's 5 hours ahead of us.
Okay, so almost 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's 5 o'clock now. It's almost 4:45 now, so 5 hours. Yeah, 10.
Quarter
It's
to
like
10.
3:45.
Yeah, yeah. I know we had Anastasia was trying again. I'm glad she's able to operate her computer, so that kind of tells me that her surgery was a success. So
Yeah.
yeah.
This thing keeps on saying not responding. I'm going to close this off. You guys are still going to be here for another, what, 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit longer if we need to.
And as soon as I go to shut everything off, it just works. Okay, like that. Okay, good.
There you go.
Okay.
I just moved the mouse. See, you got to threaten it. You got to be like, I'm going to kill you. Okay, I'm sorry. It's funny now, even when I do my videos, did you see the one I made yesterday about the dude with the whole religious thing with the love doesn't matter or whatever?
Yeah.
I know. I didn't watch that. I wanted to, but I ran out of time before the hangout.
I had a chance, really watch that. I was like, but I had to use that Minicam software that allows me to videotape the desktop and all that stuff, and I knew I was going to have issues with lag, but actually, I was surprised. The video actually went pretty damn well without any too much chopping, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give that a look. I just, like I say, I ran out of
just found
time.
it interesting, and the points that I made up in it, that I found that when they were talking and the words they were using, it was just like, you got to be fucking kidding me here. This is unreal. This is just like, this dude is in control of all this shit, and this is his ideas and concepts.
You know, there's a way we can show YouTube videos here.
Oh yeah, you just got to do screen share.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Do it as the host. Oh no, we can all do it right now. Like if I could click screen share right now.
Okay.
Entire screen.
That's what like.
Share it. Now you see my background. So if I were to go to my YouTube page now you just see everything else. You know,
Okay.
I got notifications. I haven't even gone through yet. I just got on, and you know, I can do everything. It's going to lag, so I'm really
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, if we wanted to show us a short clip,
oh yeah,
and talk about it, we could do that, couldn't we?
I think that's what we should start doing. You know, as hosts.
Yeah.
Automatically share the screen on our end and be like, okay, let's take a look at this video clip and let's break it down, analyze it, see what, figure it out. Stop sharing. Come on, I want to get my computer working again.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that we're going to have to come up with a better format because you know, I'm running out of questions. I'm having to steal questions from from Quakers and the Kardashians and.
Oh gosh, the Kardashians.
No, I shared this earlier, but the Kardashians had this thing where they would, at the dinner table, they would talk about the low point of the day, the high point of the day, and what they learned that day or whatever. And I kind of changed it up to, since I'm doing these weekly, I kind of changed it up to, you know, everything, you know, what you learned this week, what was high this week, what was low this week, or whatever. So.
Oh yeah, Jem said hi.
Who said hi?
Jem.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, where's Jem?
She's in the car right now, so.
Yeah, she's still hanging out. She's been hanging out with friends all weekend. She needed it. All right, can I stop sharing now? I mean, I've only hit it like 14 times.
Yeah, you stopped sharing.
Oh, there we
Yeah. Yeah, you're fine on my end. I think your computer is having some lag time issues there.
Very big time. It's going to be time to get a new computer soon. So it is. I'm hoping maybe next month I can go get like a $300 like just the box because I have everything else.
Yeah.
You know, I got the speakers, I got the monitor, I got a friggin' 22-inch monitor here. You know, I
Yeah.
can't stand
Well,
them monitors.
I'm thinking about getting a second one just to have it dedicated for my business or whatever. I think that'd make it easier to
That's
manage
the best part.
things.
Take a fresh,
Yeah.
clean PC and only use it for just your business. Don't, you know, do anything else with it. Just leave it for that and do your fun stuff
Yeah.
with the other one.
And then see, I'd have an automatic backup. My father's computer is my automatic backup right now. So
Okay.
I'm on his system. So
Well, what it is I don't want to get, like, I have a computer downstairs that has over 100 videos on it, and then I have this computer up here that holds the other 180 whatever videos it was since I started using this one. So
Yeah.
both of them systems, when they die, I want to make sure I get the hard drives out of them. So I
well,
keep
my sister. I think there's 6 computers in her house. She works from her home. She's an interior decorator. So
Okay.
she has 3 from her job. One that's really old, but it has some stuff on it, so she doesn't want to get rid of it.
Right.
And then 2 newer ones, and then I think she has a personal one, and then my brother-in-law has one, and then my little niece has one. So, but I mean, computers are really, really reasonable. You know, they're very, very reasonable. So,
The only thing I was debating on is if I wanted to get another desktop.
yeah. Well, I love my laptop. I think I'm going to have 2 laptops. I'm not totally sold on what they call them, the tablets.
Oh,
I'm
I
not.
don't want to
Yeah.
talk. If I get anything, it'll be a regular laptop. You know.
Yeah, but laptops.
Flippies, breakies into a pad as when you want it, and then a laptop. No, no.
Yeah.
A regular laptop with a webcam built in. So
Yeah.
I can take it wherever I want and record my videos and do what I need to do. And that's,
Yeah, but they're really reasonable and they're really versatile or whatever. And I think the tablets the price needs to come down before I become a customer of theirs. But I'm happy with my laptop. The one I've got now is a Toshiba, so it's a pretty good.
I had one of those.
They're
But
pretty
like,
good. They're not
yeah,
top of the line, but they do the work.
but, you
after
know,
I think maybe 3 years of having mine, the sides of mine started to come undone from
Yeah.
when I dropped it once,
Yeah.
and then it was like getting really slow and kept freezing up all the time.
Hmm.
So
Well,
Christmas I got a what is it, a HP that
okay.
has the touchscreen.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's another thing I don't want. I don't want the touchscreen either. I know it's cool for the
Yeah.
kids today because they're so used to it, but no, not me. I'd rather just have the. I want to. I know how to
For
use.
mine, if I use the touchscreen, it'll stay on there for like a long time, and I have to like turn off my computer to bring back the clicker, the mouse thing. It annoys me.
Yeah, it's too much.
Well, whenever I buy a new appliance or a new computer, I always put the date on it or whatever in a black magic marker, and this one says December 2011. So this puppy will be 4 years old this year. So, and they say you should probably get a new computer every 4 or 5 years anyway. So,
Well, what it is you can actually use a computer for 10 years if you wanted to. The
yeah,
power supply is the biggest thing of the computer, which really runs out the fastest.
yeah, and
So spend $35 and replace a power supply. You could take a 5-year-old computer that's running perfectly, replace the power supply, and have the whole computer up and running perfectly again because it's feeding the right power now to the board that it needs.
yeah. But wouldn't you have to update the operating system?
Oh no, everything else lasts. I've been through systems that have I've kept systems alive for. My one downstairs is from.
Yeah.
I built that in 2000, right before 2010, before I
Yeah.
quit working. I needed a computer at home for everything else, so I bought I had the system built for me the way I wanted it. I didn't go and buy it from a manufacturer. I knew a lot of computer stores that just sold all the hardware.
Yeah.
So I basically went to them and I said, listen, this is what I want. Give me a price, and this is what I want in the system. And they gave me a price. It was well worth it, and I bought the system. And that system still running downstairs, even after rebuilding it twice.
Mm.
I'll
Well,
update
mine has the Windows 7, which I think is probably 2 Windows behind. So
what?
The Windows 7.
I have Windows 7 too. All you have is Windows 8 after that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm only one system behind, and
Right.
I'm not even one.
Before 7
Yeah.
was XP and Vista. Then it was 2000 Server.
Yeah.
Then it was Windows 2000. Then it was Windows
Yeah.
98. Then it was Windows 95. And then it was Windows 3.1.
Yeah.
That's how Windows has gradually built itself up, especially in the networking session when they started their network server system software. It doesn't run like anything like a regular software. It's a regular application, but it has so many control panels for the networks for individual users, applications on what you're allowed to give to certain users. You know what I mean? And that's how I've set up all the networks in my house. Like everything is connected to one computer through Wi-Fi throughout the whole entire house. The video game consoles, the phones, the computers, the laptops, everything just comes off one signal in the house.
Yeah.
You know? And I
think that's how my dad's. I think that's how my dad's is set up. We've got 4 minutes before the top of the hour, and that's from cut off the live broadcast. So there are a couple of things I want to get on the record before I shut off the live broadcast. One thing I want to recommend to everybody is if you're doing the Hangout thing with us, that's great, but you should think about plugging into other Hangouts, like maybe you like music or art. There are music and art Hangouts going on or whatever. I'm real big into what I'm calling spiritual marketing, and there's a lady that has a Hangout for that. So I'm plugging into her Hangout. So I just would encourage everybody to think about plugging into other Hangouts, because we're not just DID people, we're people, and so we have other interests. The other thing I want to say is we're going to do this next Saturday. I may bump it up an hour to accommodate more people or whatever, but I will have one next Saturday. Joy, you're going to have one on Friday night?
That's what I do it. Every Friday night I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter who shows up or whatever. It's just going to be bullshit, hang out, have some fun, and let the week go by. You know, everybody struggles through the week with enough shit. I don't want to have everybody coming on Friday night and thinking about, oh, now I got to talk about my problems after working all day. No, come and enjoy yourself. Let's chill out for a night, and then we got 3 other nights during the week where we focus on, you know, the realities of the disorder that we have to live through.
Okay, there you go. I want to plug Jamie's Hangout. Jamie, she and Jessica got this whole thing started, and she has a Hangout on Mondays. The time fluctuates a little bit because of her work schedule and her family schedule or whatever. And then Jessica, I think, has been having one on Wednesday nights. So there's going to be opportunities to plug in throughout the week or whatever. And having said that, I don't think there's anything else I want to get on record. Does anyone else have anything they want to share before I?
I think everybody just really wants to know, like, time basis. It's mine's 9 o'clock on Eastern time on Friday nights, as far as time zones go. Yours is obviously on Saturday at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock your Mountain Time.
I'm Central Time.
Central Time.
Okay, so.
But anyway, I will publicize the time. Julian will do a promo video.
Okay.
In the middle of the week or whatever. So, okay. So at this point, I'm gonna take us off the air or whatever, and we can keep talking, but just won't be live streaming anymore.
That's fine. And everybody out there watching, take care of yourselves. We love you.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. You may lose me for a while. So.
Just do what you got to do.
Okay. How do you do it, Joy? Did you
all you have to do is click stop broadcasting, and it does everything itself.
Okay, and that's what I'm going to do.